has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
You'd think that with the whole woke circus finally losing steam, the companies that drank the Kool-Aid would snap out of it. Some have, but plenty are still clinging to the same anti-common sense nonsense that wrecked their brands and tanked their stocks. That's where Bill Maher steps in, the unapologetic anti-woke crusader ready to stamp out the last flickering embers of this cultural wildfire. And he didn't just talk about it, he did it, live and unfiltered, torching the hypocrisy right on his show. Let's dive in.
Instead of what you always were, you have to change your name. It's become a trend in America these days, morphing into something completely different from what you were founded as, but still pretending you're the old you. TLC stands for the Learning Channel. They used to have shows like Learn to Read and Ready, Set, Learn. Here's some of their present and recent offerings. Cake Boss, Gypsy Sisters, Toddlers and Tiaras, Extreme Couponing, What Not to Wear, My Teen is Pregnant and So Am I. 1,000-Pound Sisters and Alaskan Women Looking for Love. And that's just the shows about the Palins.
Maher kicks things off by ripping into TLC, once known as the Learning Channel, for completely abandoning its original purpose. What used to be a network devoted to educating and inspiring viewers has, in his words, devolved into a carnival of woke absurdity. The documentaries and science programs that once made people smarter have been replaced with shows that glorify obesity, celebrate chaos by letting kids run the house, and preach that you should only date people who echo your political or woke beliefs. Maher's message couldn't be clearer. TLC didn't just lose its direction, it lost its backbone. By trading knowledge and authenticity for pandering and virtue signaling, it's become the poster child for how far corporate America has fallen.
A&E stands for Arts. Seriously, they used to show the symphony. Now they have Deep Fried Dynasty, Hoarders, Storage Wars, Ghost Hunters, and Psychic Kids. You know, for people who find the Learning Channel too intellectual.
Next on Maher's hit list is A&E, once arts and entertainment, now barely either. Tune in today and you'll see a completely different network. The art is gone, and the entertainment has been replaced with woke propaganda dressed up as progressive storytelling. Instead of showcasing thought-provoking documentaries or genuine creative expression, A&E now pumps out agenda-driven content that glorifies confusion and labels it representation. Maher quips that it's as if the A in A&E has vanished entirely, leaving only E for empty entertainment. What was once a home for artistic excellence has become just another casualty in the culture war. His takeaway: even networks built on creativity have traded authenticity for ideology, and in the process, swapped substance for shallow, ratings-chasing activism.
History Channel has no history, and MTV has no music. I'm just saying, you can buy a petting zoo and turn it into a bondage dungeon, but you gotta change the sign.
Maher's absolutely right. These networks are drowning in hypocrisy. They cling to their old brand names as if they still stand for something meaningful, yet everything they air proves otherwise. If A&E is now just about cheap, shallow entertainment instead of art, then drop the act and call it what it is, E. And if the Learning Channel has abandoned learning altogether, maybe rebrand it as TC, the Chaos Channel. Maher's point hits hard. Don't preach virtue or legacy when your content has completely abandoned both. Either live up to your name or admit you've sold out to the woke machine. Because right now, these once proud networks are nothing more than hollow echoes of what they used to be.
They put a gay man on the cover, which I guess We're supposed to celebrate even though it was 2021 and there's already a dozen magazines for gay guys, 13 if you count Martha Stewart Living. Do we really need LGBT representation in Playboy? There's a transgender teenager on every show on television except reruns of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Beyond the TV networks, Maher turns his sights on a surprising newcomer to the woke parade, Playboy. Yes, the legendary men's magazine that built an empire on celebrating women, freedom, and unapologetic masculinity. Out of nowhere, it decided to toss aside that legacy and chase political correctness, rebranding itself to pander to the LGBTQ community. The irony is almost comical. In a media landscape already overflowing with forced representation and virtue signaling, Playboy thought hopping on the same bandwagon would make it progressive. Instead, it came off as desperate, betraying its identity and alienating the very audience that made it iconic. Maher's point hits home. Companies like Playboy aren't embracing inclusivity out of sincerity. They're chasing trends, trading authenticity for applause. It's performative wokeness at its peak, and the end result is a brand that's completely lost sight of who it's for and what it stands for.
Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which now celebrates all kind of bodies except, the good kind. Was it really such a crime against humanity to have one magazine once a year that was about finding creative ways for supermodels to hide their... Now it looks like it's edited by the Huffington Post. Jeez, you have every other magazine. Do you hate Dad that much?
Beyond the TV networks, Maher turns his sights on a surprising newcomer to the woke parade, Playboy. Yes, the legendary men's magazine that built an empire on celebrating women, freedom, and unapologetic masculinity. Out of nowhere, it decided to toss aside that legacy and chase political correctness, rebranding itself to pander to the LGBTQ community. The irony is almost comical. In a media landscape already overflowing with forced representation and virtue signaling, Playboy thought hopping on the same bandwagon would make it progressive. Instead, it came off as desperate, betraying its identity and alienating the very audience that made it iconic. Maher's point hits home. Companies like Playboy aren't embracing inclusivity out of sincerity. They're chasing trends, trading authenticity for applause. It's performative wokeness at its peak, and the end result is a brand that's completely lost sight of who it's for and what it stands for.
Valentine's Day, which was always a day to celebrate coupledom. It wasn't complicated. Flowers, chocolates, blowjob. And yet, every year now, I more and more hear this idea that Valentine's Day is also a day to celebrate being alone. Be your own Valentine. That's right, on the one day was specifically set aside to honor bonding between two people. Don't do that. Make it about the opposite of that. Be your own Valentine. Get your own cheap, stale chocolates at CVS.
This one was almost comical. A day once meant to celebrate love, connection, and shared joy has now been hijacked by the woke mob and drained of all meaning. Instead of celebrating romance and companionship, the narrative has been twisted to glorify loneliness. Suddenly, being single isn't just a phase, it's a political statement. We're told that wanting love or partnership somehow makes you dependent or weak. Maher tore into the absurdity of it all. A holiday built on affection has been transformed into a self-love pep rally. The woke crowd has managed to suck the warmth and spontaneity out of Valentine's Day, replacing roses and chocolates with hashtags and hollow affirmations. What was once a heartfelt celebration of togetherness has become yet another casualty of ideological overreach, and Maher's not about to let that slide.
America used to be an organization for boys because girls have cooties. But now the Boy Scouts accept girls, which I guess is inclusive, but it ignores the very important need for boys to sometimes get together as boys to fart in a sleeping bag and laugh at that, which girls don't find funny. It also ignores the fact that there has always also been a scout troop for girls. You may have heard of it, the Girl Scouts.
The woke agenda never misses a chance to outdo common sense. Take the Boy Scouts, for example. For generations, there were two clear and respected paths, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, each with its own mission, values, and way of shaping character. But apparently, that wasn't good enough. In the name of inclusion, girls had to be allowed into the Boy Scouts, too. Why? It's not like the Girl Scouts were lacking in opportunities or tradition. They had their own proud legacy. But the woke movement has a habit of fixing what isn't broken. Maher calls out the absurdity perfectly. Inclusion has morphed into intrusion. This isn't about equality anymore. It's about erasing the distinctions that once made sense. The result? Confusion, controversy, and the slow unraveling of institutions that once taught discipline, teamwork, and leadership, all sacrificed on the altar of performative progress.
Be what it is anymore? Weight Watchers used to be a club for people to lose weight, back when that was a good thing. Now we're so through the looking glass that obesity, the absolute undeniable #1 cause for ill health and death in America, is called body positivity. And people are shamed for losing weight. It happened to Adele. Weight Watchers is so intimidated they changed their name to WW. Why not just call yourselves Wait, Don't Tell Me?
The body positivity movement. One of the few woke crusades that actually started with good intentions. At first, it was about self-acceptance, confidence, and rejecting impossible beauty standards. But, as Maher points out, like everything the woke crowd touches, it quickly spiraled out of control. What began as a message of empowerment turned into a crusade that glorified obesity and labeled any genuine health concern as fat phobia. Maher called it exactly what it is, a ticking time bomb disguised as empowerment. You can't preach self-care while normalizing habits that destroy your body. Somewhere along the way, science, logic, and common sense were all tossed aside in favor of feelings. The result? A movement that collapsed under the weight of its own contradictions. Because no matter how catchy the hashtags or how glossy the slogans, you can't make unhealthy healthy, and deep down, everyone knew it was only a matter of time before reality stepped in.
Has long been synonymous with freedom of speech. They defended it from even the most hated groups like the Nazis, the Klan, even the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was never about what you were saying. It was about the liberal principle of your right to say it. Well, they have new guidelines now, namely that before taking a case, ACL lawyers should consider if the case might cause offense to marginalized groups, or if a potential client's values are contrary to our values. Contrary to our values? Your values are free speech and the First Amendment. Those are your values. Your whole purpose in life is not to be worried about offense to marginalized groups, because we understand that free speech is an even more important value than never being offended.
Exactly my thoughts. Since when did the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, start worrying about offending people? This is the same organization that built its reputation defending free speech, no matter how controversial or unpopular. Its mission used to be simple and noble: protect the rights of anyone being silenced for speaking their mind. But somewhere along the way, that mission got lost. Once a few woke ideologues took the reins, the ACLU's moral backbone started to crumble. The fearless defenders of liberty turned into cautious appeasers, now cherry-picking which speech is acceptable. Maher nailed it. An institution once defined by courage and constitutional integrity has become an echo chamber for political pandering. The ACLU stopped defending freedom and started defending feelings, proving that even the strongest institutions can fall when ideology outweighs principle. And that's Maher's ultimate message. Wokeness isn't progress, it's cultural decay wrapped in moral superiority. From TV networks and magazines to scouting programs and civil rights groups, everything once built on purpose and principle has been hijacked by virtue signaling and hypocrisy. These companies preach inclusion while excluding common sense, celebrate authenticity while silencing dissent, and glorify weakness while mocking strength. Maher's crusade isn't about politics, it's about sanity. It's a wake-up call to stop confusing the destruction of tradition with enlightenment. Because when every pillar of culture bends to appease outrage, what's left isn't progress, it's chaos dressed up as compassion. And Maher, for one, isn't afraid to call it out. Loudly, unapologetically, and live on TV. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed our fiery breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more unfiltered commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.